Okay, so in this video, we're going to go over core strength and stability. Now, the importance of this, or let's rewind actually. First of all, when I know a lot of people have a misconceived notion of basically the more you train your core, the stronger you get your core, the more you train it, you're going to get more visible and more visible and defined abs. Now, fundamentally, that's not incorrect in the sense that your core or abdominals is another set of muscle groups, right? So it's the same thing with biceps or whatever, your any muscle group. If you train it with hypertrophy, right, or progressive overload, you're going to get stronger and stronger and stronger. That's going to be able to give it a more defined, like 3D type of look. But the quote "abs are made in the kitchen" is very poignant because, unfortunately, if you're 300 pounds and you're able to do 1,000 sit-ups, you're not going to see abs because it's under a lot of fat, of body fat, right? Now, for me, when it comes to core, right, we're going to go over the different types and the different reasons, but I look at it more so as to improve function, more so than for looks, if that makes sense. A lot of you tend to do, or a lot of people, not you, I don't know you specifically watching this video, but a lot of people in general overwork their core and over isolate it. It's not necessary. It's a waste of energy and it's not necessary. You can easily get away with like maximum 3 exercises a week for like 2 or 3 sets each, right? And some people are doing a nauseating amount of core. It's just not needed, especially if you're bracing your core and you're breathing properly throughout the exercises that you're doing, whether it's compound, isolations, etc. So the definition of this is the ability of muscles in the torso to stabilize the spine and pelvis during movement. So that's why it's really important when you're working out, your breathing technique is proper, as well as this is going to help reduce the chances of injury if you have a stronger core. Okay. Other reasons why it's really important to have a strong core is it's essential for improving your posture, your balance, and athletic performance, or just performance in general. It's crucial for your posture, because if you have a weak core, your spine is kind of the opposite of your core, right? So when you have a stronger core, you're more likely to be more upright, versus if you're weak, you're going to be more slouched, more shitty posture. So having a strong core is important for pretty much everyday or any day function, right? So such as lifting, obviously, or bending or twisting. So a lot of people tend to screw up their back or get injured doing mundane tasks. Sometimes it could be as simple as like bringing the groceries in from the car. But believe it or not, that's like a carry. That's a farmer's carry. That's going to be working your obliques and your TVA of your core. So the stronger you get that and the more functional you get that, the better overall you're going to be. So when it comes to training your core, I'm not going to try to make this video super complicated. However, in my opinion, it's important to hit it from all different angles of planes of motion. So there's going to be 6. And what I would like you to do is just pick 2 and then choose another 2 in like a month or so. Or you can do a rotation, right? There's no one definitive answers. I do have my preferences, but let's get into that. Okay, so when we're talking about the planes of motion, technically there's only 3. Right, these other 3, stability, dynamic, isolation, that's not really a plane of motion, but these are all 6 things that you should be doing with your core. Okay, so we're going to go into examples of what it is or what you can do, and then I'll show you some reference videos / photos for what they look like. So first off, let's go to sagittal plane. We got sit-ups. Now, I don't love sit-ups. A better version of sit-ups would be you get one of these. And fun fact, this is actually inside of the low back pain course. So you get an ab pad, like Dr. Stu McGill recommends, and you would do not really sit-ups, not really a crunch, but a hybrid of both. Okay, I don't like sit-ups and I don't like crunches, but I do like the ab pad. Leg raises is another great one. You could do lying leg raises, right? You can do hanging leg raises, but not a lot of people are able to do that. So lying leg raises is a great one. What I like to do when I'm doing lying leg raises is I will take my hands behind my head and hold like a squat rack. I feel that more. And then Russian twists is a great one for your obliques. And you could load this, right? I mean, start with body weight, but then you could load this with a dumbbell, etc. Yeah. Okay, in terms of frontal, in my opinion, there's really only one that's relevant, which would be side planks. Okay. You don't need to do a lot of oblique work or training in general. There's really only like 2 that we're going to get into that I'd recommend. Maybe 3 if you include Russian twists, but that's more like overall core. Side planks would be one of them. It's great for stability, not just training in the frontal plane, but it will also train your obliques, which is a big part of your abs, and that's typically neglected. Okay, now we're gonna go into transverse. I got sidetracked, so I don't remember what I said last. But for transverse, you can do Paloff press is a very popular one. You could do rotational planks, but my personal favorite is woodchoppers. So Paloff press. So there's some clients that don't know how to gauge their core. There's better options than it. In my opinion, woodchoppers are the best. You feel your obliques more. Woodchoppers. I like it on the cables, but you could also do this really easily with a band. Okay. In my opinion, you should do both upwards and downwards. I like the half kneeling version as well. And then what were we on about? The Paloff press. So basically, you just extend load in front of you, but like I don't find it to be that effective for most people, or most clients, or myself. All right, so now we're going to go into stability / functionality, which are almost my top 3 core exercises to use. So number 1 would be dead bugs. This is also, all 3 of these are in the low back pain course. Dead bugs, bird dogs, and planks. Okay. Now, with planks, if you could hold a plank for a minute, great. You do not need to do 7-hour-long planks. There's almost zero benefit beyond a minute unless you're doing very specific training. Okay. For bird dogs, some people, for whatever reason, they do not do a plank version of it. I like to hold the bird dogs. It's great for stability, and stability basically prevents you from falling over. It's really good. And dead bugs not only trains your core, but trains your hip flexors, which are commonly weak. So I'm going to see if I can find a good example of dead bugs on Google Images. Yeah, some of this isn't bad. So this would be a good example. And then, well, everybody knows what a plank is or should. And then bird dogs. Bird dogs. You would hold this. So I would recommend to hold it for like 30 seconds aside, engage your glute and your shoulder. Okay, so then dynamic, that would be more so like flutter kicks or mountain climbers. I like mountain climbers. They're good like burnout. So mountain climbers, you're like going on all fours, and you bring your knees opposite knee to opposite hand. You could do like a set of 30 seconds or a set of 20 of them. And then it would be like a lying leg raise. And or my favorite is like a hanging leg raise. Or the regression for that would be a tuck, like a lying knee tuck. So it's going to be really hard to do it where you're going from like this is my top body and then my bottom body to go like this. You could bend it, you bring your knees up, and then you progress to straight leg. All of these, like, you really want to make sure you're doing proper form. I mean, majority of these you really can't get injured even if you do horrendous form, but just make sure you're doing it right and gradually build up to this, because a lot of you are very sedentary and you don't train your core a lot. So if you're going to go from something to like nothing to a lot, you're going to be really fucking sore. So don't say I didn't warn you. I would start off with like one exercise every like 3 days, 2 or 3 times, and then build up gradually from there. Like always, if you have any questions, drop it in the community, shoot me a message. Yeah, I'll see you in the next video.